Let me tell you a story. From across the other side of the table from me was a finger pointed at my face. Now, the finger belonged to a man named Bobby LaPrey. And Bobby LaPrey was the biggest human I've ever seen. Just by being near him, I felt like something was deficient in the way I was made. I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm over 6 foot. I came up to Bobby's chest when I shook his hand. I was taking his deposition. Now, in the legal world, a deposition is a chance to ask questions of a witness before trial. You know what a witness is going to say before trial. Nobody likes any kind of surprises or anything like that. So I was asking him questions about a given case. And it's very routine to ask questions like, what happened? When'd you get there? What happened next? Very easy softball questions. But there was a problem. Every time I asked a question to Bobby LaPrey, he got angrier and angrier. And I've seen it a million times. All of a sudden, he started to wring his hands. That means he's a little anxious. His shoulders got tight, and he began to breathe before he started responding to me. Right before he was answering a question, I could tell he was starting to get a little overwhelmed. He started to shake his head. He started to move in his seat. And I could tell at that moment from the thousands of depositions that I've had that Bobby LaPrey was about to pop. So I said, Mr. LaPrey, do you need to take a break? We good? You need to stop? No, but I got something to say. And I looked at the attorney and the others from across from me, and he looked at me. I am no physical help to you. Should this thing go south? I said, yes, sir. He said, you can cut all this buddy stuff. He said, you lawyers are the worst thing to happen to America. You and your questions and your lies. So go on and ask your stupid questions. But let me tell you something. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. Now, in reality, that was a pretty big compliment because Bobby LaPrey probably could have thrown me pretty far. The court reporter didn't know what to do. There's a court reporter who types down everything. She was just frozen. She looked at everybody just waiting for things as if she was going to run under the table. And what I did in that moment, as I've seen countless times, is I just gave it about 4 seconds. Took a breath in, took a breath out, and I looked at Bobby LaPrey and I said, well, maybe so. Let me ask you something, Mr. LaPrey. I said, what's been your biggest struggle recently? Your biggest struggle, personal. He said, what? I said, your biggest struggle, what's been going on? His gaze looked like he was looking 1,000 miles past me. And there, Bobby LaPrey began to tell me about his mother, who he had to put in assisted living about 3 weeks prior to the deposition. And he didn't know what to do. His dad had already passed away. His brother is a roughneck, somebody who works in the oil field, and he was off. And it was just up to Bobby to take care of his mom. And he was getting letters from lawyers, people that were demanding things of him and using legal words that he didn't understand. Of course, he wouldn't want anything to do with me. And so what I said to him, I said, Mr. LaPrey, I can't imagine what you're going through. But what I can tell you is you're a good son. And just like that, big, bad, Leroy Brown, Bobby LaPrey, he began to cry. And all the fears just started to pour out. We went off the record. He got to tell me everything that was going on, and I was able to help him, hook him up to some other legal attorneys that could help him with his issue. And after that, I said, you good? He said, I'm good. And for the rest of the deposition, I got to talk to the real Bobby LaPrey, the big teddy bear Bobby LaPrey. And at the end of the deposition, I went to shake his hand. I said, Mr. LaPrey, great to meet you. Instead, he gave me the biggest bear hug. And I promise you, my feet left the ground. I never felt more feminine. I was like, this is wonderful. Like, I can see the appeal of this. Like, I share you that story to tell you this. The person you see is often not the person you're talking to.